How you doing, Achievers? Ajit Sidhu here. It's a beautiful day, as always. Today I want to continue talking about what I was talking about yesterday. I told a story yesterday about a mother who wanted to have a child, and finally she was able to have this child, but the child was born blind. And the boy grew up hating the world and feeling begrudged, but he couldn't see the love that his mother was giving him. And to the point where he finally said that I'll only be able to be grateful and love things once I can see. And then the mother decided to the boy got a call from the doctors, and he was allowed to, there was a donor, and they were going to give him eyes. And when he did go for the operation, he came out, he was ecstatic, he was excited, he looked around, he could see how life was amazing, and he was so happy. But then he saw the doctor's face, and the doctor's face was very sad, and the doctor gave a message saying that the mother is the one that gave her eyes to you, so you would be able to see and you would be able to feel grateful. And he handed him a box, and within the box, when he opened it, it was empty. So it's just a quick recap, and it was empty. And on the letter, he ripped it open and he saw what it read, and it basically read that the box isn't empty, it's filled with kisses. But she blew kisses into it. So every single time you want to feel loved, just grab in and reach it. And so the story I was telling yesterday, and I couldn't finish it off. I did get emotional. I had to switch it off. I didn't want to start bawling down on Facebook Live, so I switched it off. I do want to continue the conversation and what I wanted to speak about yesterday. So being grateful, the attitude of gratitude, being grateful, being full of greatness is the key. So the secret is that. I'm telling you the secret right now. So if you want to shut this and go and do something else, this is it. Being grateful leads to happiness. That's it. If we're grateful for everything that we have happiness. Now, if you do want to continue and listen to there's three little parts to this, and I'm going to be very quick. The three parts is happiness. So everyone is striving for happiness in this life. When it comes down to why somebody wants something in this life, it always comes down to the point of happiness. If you want to have a car, why do you want to have a car? It brings you status. And the feeling of it. So why do you want status and that feeling? Oh, because it's something that I always crave because I haven't had it. But why do you really want it? Why do you really want to have it? Because it makes me happy? Yep, that's it. So anything that you want in life or anything that you want to achieve, if asked, why? Usually it takes about 4 to 5 steps to get to the point of I just want to be happy. I want to feel happiness. I want a relationship. Why do you want a relationship? Because why? Because it makes me feel happy. I want the feeling of happiness. If we actually dissect the feeling of happiness, it comes down to 3 things. And once we know these 3 things, I'm a firm believer, and this is the one thing that I teach continuously to everyone that comes into my presence. Awareness is the key to everything, because once you're aware, then you can make changes. And the saying that I always say is, ignorance is bliss until you know, and when you know, you have a moral obligation to do and add value to people's lives. And that's something that I always say, that's my saying. But coming back down to here, the 3 things is, once you're aware of this, are we back? Connection failed. I'm back. Okay, so there's 3 things, and these 3 things are very important. 1, we have to understand every single person in their mind has a blueprint of exactly what life should be like. And this blueprint is created through their experiences in their life and who they've spoken to and what beliefs they've got inside of them. So once someone has actually created this blueprint and has stuck it up in their mind, saying this is how life should be. So now remember this blueprint, because this blueprint's very important. Once this blueprint is up, if life, the way life is now for you, meets that blueprint or exceeds the blueprint, then you're happy. You feel happiness. You instantly feel happiness because you're meeting the blueprint. The next point is if you're not meeting that blueprint and you're really way down, so you're looking into the future, you say, this is how life should be. I should have this car. I should have a Lamborghini, but I'm driving this car. I should have a big house, but I'm living in a small house. I should be living on the beach somewhere with lots of money, but I'm struggling financially at the moment. That's when you're feeling pain inside. So that's the second point, pain. The third point is if you're not in control of achieving that blueprint, if we blame external circumstances or other people are trying to control us and we just don't want to take this on, then we feel suffering. So the first one is happiness, exceeding the blueprint. The second is the pain that we feel because we're way below our blueprint. And the third one is we're not in control. But how do we achieve happiness instantly? How can we achieve happiness instantly? Because this blueprint exists in our dreamland, our virtual world, our world that we've created. The two worlds that we live in, the physical and the mental, that blueprint is in our mental. So how do we create happiness right this instant? I gave you the secret right at the beginning. It's gratitude. You just have to be thankful. Once we are thankful for what we have, and we start looking around and we start saying thank you, thank you, thank you, constantly, that blueprint all of a sudden fades slightly. And yes, we should have a blueprint, but that blueprint should be for us to feel motivated and juiced up and ready to go to achieve. But if that blueprint is causing us pain and suffering, then we got two choices. We can either change the blueprint or we can change the circumstances. But how do you do both at the same time? So changing the blueprint is bringing it down so it's more achievable. Don't aim too high. But we're achievers. We are going to aim for the stars. We're going to aim for the galaxy, and even if we don't hit it, we'll still land on the moon. So we don't want to change the blueprint. Circumstances. How do we change the circumstances? We take action. We take control. But what if it's a third one that you can't take control of? Then you've got a conflict. So all these ideas, these concepts, the three things. So with the happiness, the blueprint, exceed. With the pain, you're way below. And with the suffering, you're not in control at all. So here's the blueprint. But just by saying thank you, the best, the most powerful prayer this entire world has had. It doesn't matter what religion you are or what you do in this life or if you're a man or a female or a child, if we just say thank you, thank you, thank you, all three areas change and it gets knocked out. And it's related to back, if we relate it back to that story, and so I was meant to tell that story yesterday, and then lead to this point where if the boy who was blind and couldn't see was just thankful, was just grateful for what he actually had, he wouldn't feel the pain of what he hasn't got. Yes, he was blind. I do understand that. Yes, we all have pains in our lives. Yes, we have suffering. I had that suffering when I was doing my martial arts, and my good friend, he swept me off my feet, and we both tumbled on each other, and I damaged my shoulder, and in a week I was going to go with my son to Center Parcs and to do climbing, and this is something that I enjoy so much because it builds me and my son. It was a bonding moment. And when we got there, I couldn't even move my shoulder. I was like, this is pain, this is suffering. I can't do anything about it. And I started feeling depressed at that point. I didn't even want to go outside. I went into the room, and my wife and my kids were outside in the living room, and I went into my room. I sat on the bed, slumped over, feeling really upset, thinking, why am I even here? Why did I even come? Holding my shoulder up. And instantly at that point, I heard my wife, my kids laughing. And I just thought, I'm being so ungrateful. I just want to have this blueprint of how it should be, of climbing with my son, and I can't have fun in this moment. And I just start repeating, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Who are you thanking? The gratefulness is coming from within. If you don't believe in anything, then it's just coming from within. If you do believe in a higher power or the universe, then thank. If you actually believe that the higher power is within us, then thank yourself. Just saying the words thank you. And my shoulder dropped at that point, and I shook it off, and I said, thank you. And I said to myself, I'm going climbing, even if it destroys my shoulder, because I'm grateful. And if it destroys my shoulder, I'll be grateful in that moment. I'll be grateful that I'm able to have the other arm. I'm able to spend time with my family. So going back to, but just to finish off, I did do the climbing, and my shoulder did hurt, but we just pushed through. I pushed through it, enjoyed myself. But coming back to the story that I was saying yesterday, the boy only realized what he actually had, what he couldn't see when he was blind, that was taken away once he could see. And so when he actually got his eyes and he thought, this is going to be the best thing, I've got everything in this world now, I can see the things that he did have and he should have been grateful for, which was so much more powerful, was taken away. And now the only way he's able to achieve that feeling, that happiness that he had, is by sitting down, closing his eyes and going blind again and being grateful. And that's what the story was about. But going back to the gratefulness, being thankful, practice it. Practice it. What are we happy about at this moment? What are we so grateful for? Who's in our life at this moment of time that we can actually spend memorable moments and loving moments with? Husband, a wife, parents? Are our parents still around? Do we have children that are laughing? Do we have friends that care? Do we have arms and legs? Do we have eyes? Can we speak? There's one final quick story that I do want to I'm going to do a quick story just to relate to this, because I did kind of plan. I do kind of plan these talks in my head, so I would like to just quickly mention this, because I was sitting down with my son last night and putting him to sleep, and he was lying there cuddled up to me, and he goes, "Daddy, can you tell me a story?" And I looked at my time and I thought, whoa, you're meant to be asleep. And he goes, "Can you tell me a long story?" I thought, oh geez, I said, no, we got to get to sleep now because you're missing out on your sleep. And he goes, "Please, Daddy, please." And instantly I had to think of a story that was very powerful, that would hit home, and it was very short. And I came up with a story, so I'll quickly mention it here because it relates directly to it. He wanted a story about a cat, so I made a story about a cat. Now this story is about a cat that lived in a nice house. Not a big house, just a nice house. He had a really loving owner. He had a small little garden. It says poor network connection, I apologize. He had a small little garden outside with a small patch of grass. And the cat was very upset. He wanted to have a big house that he could look at and be proud of. He wanted to eat nice food, luxurious food, not the terrible little canned food. And he wanted to go onto a big grass area to feel his feet and his paws into the grass. And he complained about it constantly until his friend came along. And his friend said, "You complain so much. Come with me." And he took him to a warehouse. It was, the small little window was open and they climbed through. And in the warehouse, there's little cages. And in the cages, there were animals, cats. And within the first cat, the cage, the cat was blind. And the friend said, "This cat can't see anything that you and me can see." He went to the next cage, and that cat didn't have a tongue. And the friend said, "This cat can't taste any food, just like we can. We can taste our food, and we should appreciate it." And then he went to the final one, and the final cat cage just had a cat there without any legs. And the friend said, "This cat can't feel anything, whereas we can feel everything." And a realization came to the main cat, the selfish cat, that he should be grateful for what he's got. And he ran back out of the warehouse, back to his owner's place, and he looked at his house and he was proud. The cat was loving his house, and it felt the grass, the small grass patch. He was feeling and being thankful. He ran into his food and he could taste his food, and he was feeling grateful. And that's the word grateful, being full of greatness. And I just want to leave it at that point. So the secret to those knocking the three things of our blueprint that's created, remember, we create the blueprint and we can keep pushing it. If it's not motivating us and it's creating suffering or pain, then we can change the blueprint and bring it to a place where it's happiness, where we are happy, where we're achieving, and keep pushing it forward. Remember that uncomfortable zone. But the three things is, if our life conditions are meeting that blueprint, then we're happy. Or exceeding, then we're ecstatic. But if it's below the blueprint, then we are in pain. We're feeling the pain. But then if we feel that we're not in control of it, then we're feeling suffering. And the way to get rid of all those three, to knock those three dominoes down, is just by saying thank you. And I'll leave it there. Have a fantastic day. Keep achieving, keep moving forward, spread happiness and love, and I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.